Hey there, listeners. I am Joanne Lee Cornish, your truth bomb dropper in the world of weight loss, body composition, and mastering the art of rocking the body you've always deserved and dreamed of in midlife and beyond. Let's cut through the noise. Society tells us it's downhill from now on. We're told to embrace the middle-aged weight gain, embrace the muscle loss and poor health. If that's your vibe, then cool. But if you're ready to defy the narrative, then I am your gal. This podcast is a no fluff podcast where we break down the essential truths of body composition, toss around some practical tips, and dissect the latest trends. I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm here to show you what's not just possible, but downright probable for you. If you enjoy this content, be sure to click the link in the show notes to explore how we can team up and kick mediocrity to the curb. I offer one-on-one coaching, my ever-popular group coaching programs, and my corporate Educate to Elevate program. Okay, let's get on with the podcast. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. It is July the 21st. And if you follow me, I apologize. I've been missing for a couple of weeks. And my dad died. So everything that goes with that. So apologies for the absence. Just needed a second. But today I want to talk about your body's thermostat. So I want to talk about the ladies and the hot flashes, but I don't want to leave you guys out. So I want to talk about the men as well, because the guys have a few issues themselves. But first off, I know a few of you, quite a few of you, are actually local to me in Boise, Idaho. And I wanted to share with you, if interested, I don't even know anything about this. It's just something my client said to me. And I thought it might be useful that personalized healthcare, Peak Personalized Healthcare, they are doing DEXA scans for the rest of July for only $75. Guys, that's a pretty good deal. So I don't even know where they are. Somebody just sent it to me and I want to pass that on because that is a good deal. So Peak Personalized Healthcare. If you know them, maybe tell them that I mentioned them, but that's a good deal. Not just body composition, but your bone density and all that super good information as we get older. Also, on a side note, now you probably know that I sell the 5-amino 1MQ. Fabulous product. Put the link in the show notes. Love that product. And the reason that I sourced it myself was because it was so expensive. And don't get me wrong, it is an expensive product. Believe me. It's an expensive product. But anyway, I can make it a lot more affordable, long story short. Anyway, there's another compound that I've been thinking about sourcing for a while, and that is SLUPP332. I know, but SLUPP332. Long story short, when you take it, the muscle mimics exercise. So when the muscle exercises, it maintains itself, so muscle preservation, and that is where fat is burned, fat oxidation. So this compound has the muscle mimic exercise. Pretty cool. And I've looked at it and I've used it and I like it. And there was no point. I put it very fairly priced. It was about $67 or something. And I'm like, it's a great product. Love it. That's fantastic. Then I saw it was getting a lot of publicity. And then I see it's, stack 5-amino with SLUPP332, which is what I do. And then I saw some other articles come out on it, and I see a lot of influencers, for want of a better word, telling us their stacks, their peptide stacks, and SLUPP is always in there. And so I go back to, Peptide Science is where I was getting my other stuff from. And the product that used to cost $67 is now $125. And I've seen it for $185. $155. And that kind of annoys me because this product was like $68 all day, every day from everybody just a few months ago. And just because it got popular, the price has doubled and in some case tripled. And I don't like that. watch your space because I've already got the wheels in motion and I will have that available as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then definitely go to my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Joanne Cornish. I have a lot of videos on 5-amino 1MQ. Believe me, I'll start filming some on SLU PP332. But do a little bit of homework. It's fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating. And for me, anything that sharpens our pathways with regards to muscle preservation and fat oxidation, I am all over that. But I do get a little peeved when I see that, when I see people just be taken advantage of. And that price jump was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it when I looked. So I got a little bee in my bonnet and I'm got the label made and we're almost ready to go. Anyway, all right, back to the podcast. So today I want to talk about male and female thermostat and body temperature and why it can change with age. Why we can think that 1 minute you're sweating, the next minute you're pulling on a hoodie, you wake up freezing, then you're drenched. Maybe your partner's the opposite and neither of you are sleeping well. So ladies, you might be sweating and just trying to sleep in a pool of your own sweat, which I've done. That's not nice. But meanwhile, you might not realize that your husband or partner was up pacing the house between 2 and 4 a.m. in the morning. Both male and females have sleep issues as they get older. And this isn't just aging. This is normal, it's hormonal thermoregulation, and it is chaotic. So today we're going to break down exactly why it happens and some ways to make the situation a little bit better. So let's start with the basics here. So the basics is your hypothalamus is part of your brain that functions like a thermostat. Just remember what a thermostat is. If the room gets too cold, the thermostat kicks in and heats it up. If the room gets too hot, the thermostat kicks in and brings the temperature down. So it regulates body temperature, but the hypothalamus also not just regulating body temperature, but it regulates hunger, sleep, hormone release. And these are all this beautifully coordinated rhythmic dance that goes on. So the hypothalamus, it keeps your core temperature stable. And that's usually between 97 and 99 degrees Fahrenheit. It goes through a process called thermoregulation, which involves sweating to cool you down, shivering to warm you up, adjusting blood flow to your skin and extremities, releasing or reducing hormones based on cues. They can be internal, they can also be external. So in your 20s and 30s, that system is pretty efficient and it's largely automatic. You sleep well, you regulate your heat easily, and you're rarely aware of your internal temperature and at night. But then it shifts and it throws everything off. And again, for all of us, nobody escapes this circus. If you follow me, I call midlife the circus because you can't make it up. It's an absolute riot. And some people have more of a circus experience than others. Let's start with the ladies. Hot, cold, and everything in between. And it's usually between 4:30 in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night. So let's talk about the midlife female experience first. So during perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone don't just decline, they fluctuate wildly. And it's this fluctuation that wreaks havoc with your hypothalamus. Estrogen helps regulate body temperature. Estrogen helps regulate blood flow and neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine. So when we get that estrogen drop, your body becomes more sensitive to temperature shifts. Your hypothalamus overreacts to tiny changes. So a slight increase in core temperature triggers a full-blown hot flash. A slight drop, you shiver like you're in the Arctic. So what I'm saying here is your thermoneutral zone narrows, which means you can go from comfortable to sweaty or freezing very quickly. So think of this, your thermostat. usually if the room gets too cold, the heat comes on to warm it up. If the room gets too hot, the AC comes on to cool things down. But imagine if that thermostat was so crazy sensitive that the second that temperature dropped, even a degree, it just put on the heat. It puts the heat on like crazy and heats it up, and vice versa. So the body gets just a little bit too hot, just a minuscule warmer than it was before, and it just freezes, shivering, cold, reduces body temperature like crazy. That's what I mean by thermoneutral zone. It narrows. The zone that we work in gets very narrow, and we become super sensitive, and the hypothalamus just really overreacts to even the smallest change in body temperature. Here's the kicker. So your core body temperature naturally drops at night to help you fall asleep. So one of the things that helps us go to sleep is when our body temperature cools down. So that's why we might have our bedroom cooler. Some people like to sleep with a fan. People like cooling sheets. It's also the irony of people taking hot baths, because you think that's heating them up, but then the body cools itself after a hot bath. You see what I mean? So it cools itself. And then, so again, it's this cooling process. And we need to you know how hard it is to sleep when it's hot? You're just restless. The body needs to be cool to sleep. It prefers to be cool, I should say, to sleep. And it's another reason why drinking like alcohol or having big meals, they'll all cause your body to run a bit hotter, which makes sleep more difficult. As our core body temperature naturally drops at night to help you fall asleep, but if you're perimenopausal, this drop, tiny little drop, your body just wants to be a bit cooler, can actually trigger a hot flash, because this hypersensitive brain is going to overcorrect. So now you're hot when you should be sleeping, sweating during the cool down phase, because then you have a hot flash, you get really hot. So then, of course, the body goes in the opposite direction. Oh, it's too hot. I'm going to freeze you down. And now you are just sitting in your own sweat, and you are freezing. You're cold immediately afterwards. And as you panic, your body's panic and dumps heat. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. And any of you ladies that haven't got to this stage yet, very few people avoid this. Yeah. So this hot and sweaty, burning up, and then suddenly freezing cold. This is your body simply overreacting. Yeah. Your body wants core temperature drops when you go to sleep, or as you go to sleep. The body overreacts, you get really hot. You get really hot, the body overreacts and chills you down. So this is going on, and probably the biggest complaint when it comes to ladies in the 40s and 50s, we're concerned about our energy and our skin and maybe our body composition. We just can't sleep. And when you can't sleep, nothing is good, right? You eat differently, you exercise differently, if at all. Your relationship different, everything changes when you just can't sleep. But ladies, while you are sitting there burning up and then sitting in the pool of your own sweat, the guys have something going on as well. So cold extremities, early wake-ups, and a silent decline. Now, this is more like between 9 o'clock at night and let's say 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So for men, the midlife hormone shift is a little bit more gradual, but just as impactful. And what's happening there is testosterone begins to decline, and that has some pretty serious consequences for circulation and energy metabolism and thermoregulation. So testosterone supports blood flow to the extremities. Testosterone supports mitochondrial function for heat production. So the mitochondria are the batteries in your cell. Think of them like that. The batteries that give your cells energy, and they're needed for heat production. So testosterone is needed for that. And testosterone also supports nitric oxide levels for vasodilation. So when we're talking about vasodilation, we're talking about opening up the blood vessels, dilating the blood vessels. And nitric oxide does that. And testosterone is one of the things that supports our nitric oxide. So then we have the guy and his testosterone is dropping. And we just said that testosterone supports blood flow to the extremities. So we often see cold hands and feet, especially at night. That's always causes some drama, doesn't it? When somebody's cold foot touches you in the middle of the night, like, oh my God, or cold hands. And it's funny, except it's not funny. I'm only laughing because it's usually me that I do it to Kevin, not the other way around. But yes, so the guys when the testosterone drops can get cold hands and cold feet, especially at night. And there's a reduction in their ability to generate heat from muscle activity or food. So it's just like less efficient energy metabolism overall. Also, what you might notice, guys, is you're waking up between, say, 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning, wide awake, restless, maybe a bit anxious. I know Kevin went through that. He's real good right now, but for a long time, he would be up pacing the house 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so a lot of guys go through this, and this is often due to blood sugar drops and cortisol spikes. And cortisol spikes are worsened by lower testosterone and disrupted circadian rhythms. And if the guy has belly fat, drinks alcohol at night, skips meals, or lives in some state of chronic stress, that thermostat becomes even more unreliable. So Kevin does not have belly fat. He does not drink. He does skip meals. He doesn't really eat much in the evening or even late afternoon. State of chronic stress? I hope he's not. But a lot of guys do. That belly fat, that adult beverage at night, maybe not eating much, which we always think of, oh, don't eat at night. But for some people, that not eating at night can cause some blood sugar drops, which can cause disrupted sleep. Just all these things make the thermostat become even more unreliable. So while the ladies are overheating, the men are freezing. One is tossing up the covers, the other is adding socks, and both are pretty miserable. But often we don't appreciate what the other person is doing. One overlooked layer here that I should have mentioned is the nervous system. Both estrogen and progesterone in women and testosterone in men support the parasympathetic tone, the rest and digest state. So let me just do a little segue here and talk about the parasympathetic tone. We have our nervous system. It has two parts. It has the sympathetic side, the sympathetic nervous system, SNS, and it has the parasympathetic nervous system, PNS. They can't be on at the same time. Okay? So the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, your eyes are wide, eyes are dilated, maybe your hair's standing on edge and the blood goes away from your skin. This is running in a stress state. And this is what people do all the time. And I will just stress that the blood goes from the skin. So you look pale, your skin almost looks gray. The blood goes away from the surface and goes more to organs. So you look like death, your hair can be on end, your eyes are bugging out. This is the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, a state that a lot of people live in all the time. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system, or the parasympathetic tone, as I'm stating here, is the other side. So this is the rest and digest state. This is the relaxed side of your nervous system. They cannot be on at the same time. Now, the reason I just said it was the rest and digest state is because digestion is run by the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming side of the nervous system. Now, this segue has gone way off track, but here we go. The digestive system is run by the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming side. So if somebody is constantly a sympathetic nervous system that's constantly off fight and flight, no wonder they have digestive issues, constipation, everything they eat, they feel bloated, they have that food baby thing going on. No wonder, because things aren't moving as well as they should be. They're not digesting as well as they should be because the sympathetic nervous system is always on and we have to shut it off. and we have to go into engage the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, one time the parasympathetic nervous system is turned on, and for some people, it's the only time it's turned on, is when we sleep. This is also, children, cover your ears, but this is also why guys will get morning wood. Don't mean to be crude, but think about that. I've just said the blood with the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, then the blood goes away from the surface, so your skin goes gray. It also won't go to a guy's genitalia, right? So they're unable to have an erection. But when do guys have that? In the morning. Morning wood, affectionate term. But that is because the parasympathetic nervous system was turned on whilst they slept, allowing for blood flow. So that's why guys often wake up prepared. Totally off topic, but I know maybe a lot of you go now, huh? Oh, okay. So back to the subject. Both estrogen, progesterone in women, testosterone in women support the parasympathetic tone, the rest and digest state. The part of the nervous system, the rest and digest state, they support that. So when hormones decline, the nervous system becomes more sympathetic dominant. Now, with society the way it is, most people are sympathetic dominant as they are, but when their hormones come down or decline, it become even worse. And how that shows up is more cortisol, more adrenaline, more light sleep, disrupted sleep, less deep sleep, less REM sleep, and less body temperature regulation. Now, if any of you have any trackers, like I wear the Oura Ring, and that shows me my deep sleep and my REM sleep, and I definitely get less. As we get older, we definitely get less, and that is part of it. And it is a lot of it is to do with hormonal decline. So also when you get declining hormones, that reduces melatonin production. And melatonin is crucial for sleep quality and temperature regulation. And at that point, I'd be really amiss if I didn't mention, I do also have a sleep supplement. I had it for years. It's fantastic. Sell it on Amazon or off my website. If you guys are having sleep issues, please try it on. I'll put a discount code in the show notes, but it's awesome. No hangover. It's awesome. And I actually developed that product because so many of my clients back in Los Angeles were having trouble sleeping. Anyway, where was I? I was saying that declining hormones reduce melatonin production. Now, so even if you're in bed for 8 hours, you might not be getting the right kind of sleep. Now, also what helps with melatonin is if you have access to, if you're on a splurge, it's definitely the best investment we ever made. But red light therapy, we have a red light bed. The one we have is by Platinum, and we got the 5 6 foot, looks like a tanning bed, horizontal over a massage table. Kevin, that's funny because as I'm recording this, I can hear it. Kevin is actually under it right now because I can hear the bulbs. That's funny. And I probably use it 4 times a week, something like that. When I go under that, I am out. It is drool time. I am unconscious. I have clients and friends use it as well. And that is because the red light actually increases melatonin. So if sleep really is an issue for you and you're so inclined and are able to do, I would definitely look into getting a red light bed. I cannot even tell you. So even if you don't sleep at night, you can hop in under that thing during the day for a nap. And you're like, I cannot nap. I'm not a napping person. That's just not me. I'm going to just be tired all day. But if I go into the red light, I am out like a light. So, got my sleep formula, but also red light bed. The one we got it is the big one. It is a big one. But I believe it was like $2,500 and it is the best thing we ever got. It is fantastic. We originally got it because Kevin had a massive abdominal surgery and it was an emergency surgery, so they just sliced him down the middle. And he had this pretty awesome scar going on. We got it to help with the scar, and you can't see the scar, so it was absolutely fantastic for that. But then the added benefits, anyway, it's one of the best things we ever did buying that thing. So Also, did I mention that also with the ladies that the drop in estrogen? So our hormones are declining. Estrogen does naturally decline in the evening for every woman at every age. If we've all already get lower levels of estrogen and it declines at night, so you've got the body temperature dropping and you've got estrogen declining, and remember that estrogen is one of those that supports thermoregulation, then that's also why we can have this crazy erratic temperature issue going on at night. So what can we do about it? The obvious, dress accordingly. So layers so you can adjust. You can use the cooling bedding, but wear warm socks. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there's some research that shows that warming the feet helps trigger sleep by pulling heat from the core. So that's pretty cool. So you can use cooling bedding, but wear the warm socks because it's going to help you get to sleep. You can try that chill pad, the bamboo sheets, linen bedding. Funny story, I think it was last year, we wanted to buy a new mattress. And so we went and we bought this cooling mattress. So Kevin runs hot. I wasn't too excited about the idea because I run cold, but I got outvoted, I guess. So we bought this cooling mattress and we got home and it was freezing. I was on that thing and it was so cold. The dogs wouldn't even step on the mattress. They wouldn't come under the covers at all. They hated it. And even Kevin, who was running hot at the time, it was too cold for him. So that thing went bad. So yeah, you can use the cooling bedding. Now, well, I'm going off topic a lot here, but what we also just got were those grounding sheets. Now, I'm not there. It's all about grounding, right? But we did get the grounding sheets. Ken wanted to get the grounding sheets. And I do have to say, whether it's the technology of the sheets or just the fact that they feel really nice, we're both sleeping better. And I'm a pretty good sleeper, but I'm sleeping well. So if you're interested in the grounding sheets, if you want to know where we got them from, shoot me an email, joe@theshrinkshop.com. That's JO@theshrinkshop.com. But all these things can help. Also, before you go to bed, have a small protein fat snack before you go to bed, like some hard-boiled eggs or some almond butter, because that can just prevent the overnight drops in blood sugar that can trigger cortisol. So I know we hear, oh, don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed, but for some people that is a little problematic because of the blood sugar drop. And that, again, that will trigger cortisol. And once you trigger cortisol, cortisol is going to wake you up. You can probably support your hormones. I mean, you can explore HRT or TRT, hormone replacement or testosterone replacement. For me, it's helped a lot. Other people, they have their own journey with it. It might be worth a conversation. If the symptoms are disrupting your life and your blood work support, let's not forget that, it can be worth having a bioidentical hormone replacement conversation. The thermostat's not going to reset until your hormones do. So whilst they're fluctuating, it can be a disaster. Then maybe once you get through menopause or andropause and that they're not being so erratic, things can calm down. But if it's affecting your life greatly, then I think it's worth a conversation. But it's not for everybody. What else can you do? So to support your own hormonal pathways, ladies, you can take DIM, D-I-M, calcium, magnesium. B6 supports estrogen detox, although I'm reluctant to say B6 because for some people with B6, it ends up giving like a type of neuropathy and it can cause tingling in their arms when they're asleep. But if you tolerate B6, then that can help with support your estrogen. Men, citrulline. I love citrulline. I wouldn't take it before you go to bed though. Citrulline, beet powder. The reason that I love citrulline and also beet powder is they are vasodilators. So I take citrulline before a workout. Not every workout, but it sits there in the gym. And citrulline is a vasodilator, so you just get amazing blood flow. So I just can train harder and longer and just feel better whilst I train. Beet powder is a vasodilator as well, so that's how that works. So you can definitely take a citrulline or beet powder if you take pre-workouts, which I do not. If you look on the back, see what they have in them. And if they have citrulline, it's probably a pretty good pre-workout because citrulline's expensive. But for middle-aged guys, it's a pretty nice supplement to take. I do love it. I love it as a pre-workout, but you can take it just on a daily basis. I wouldn't, however, take it right before bed because it's a vasodilator and it gets blood flow going. It might wake you up, but play with that. But citrulline beet powder, magnesium, zinc, they all support like nitric oxide and testosterone, so they're great. What else did I want to tell you about this? You can actually train your nervous system. So I was saying how there's a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous system. Well, to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, breath work. And I'm talking about the old adage of like when you're mad, count to 10, take 10 breaths. You know why that works? So before you go have some road rage or something, the saying always is, take 10 breaths, count to 10 and just calm down. It's true. Because if you do take 10 breaths and you breathe in through your nose, you hold it, you breathe out through your mouth and you do 10 deep breaths like that or more. But you will trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, when I was going through a super stressful time, my hormones were off and I was getting readjusted. And I would get to bed and I could not sleep. My mind was just racing. And the one thing that did work was doing intentional breathing. The breathe in, hold it, breathe out. And I would do it, and then I'd wake up and I'm like, wow, it actually did put me to sleep. It works. So you can, if you're really, especially ladies, if you're going through premenopause and you've also got a very anxious mind, breath work can really help. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. That is what I would do. The cold exposure helps the nervous system. We've actually been talking about getting a cold plunge. But I live in Idaho, I'm thinking, well, we only need it for 6 months of the year. But also, like I just say, a grounding. So we just bought the grounding sheets. I must admit, I was a bit of a skeptic, but no, maybe it's working. But these are all different ways that you can retrain your nervous system, but I would definitely start with breath work. If you can't shut that mind down, 10, 20 deep breaths into your nose. All the way out. This takes 5 minutes of quiet time, and this can really restore your nervous system flexibility. So the more calm you create, the easier it is for your body to self-regulate. So that's it in a nutshell. Whether you're sweating through the sheets or waking up cold at 3 a.m., your body's trying to tell you something. Hormones have changed. The regulatory system is a lot more sensitive. We can make the situation better by our behavior before we go to bed. Don't drink alcohol. I did a podcast just I forget now because I missed a couple of weeks, but I did the one on histamine. If you go back maybe 2 podcasts, I did the one on histamine and I spoke about that, how drinking wine can increase histamine and make it really difficult to sleep. So be careful with your adult beverages. If you're having trouble sleeping, it does make things worse. I know we think it relaxes us, but the alcohol definitely will alter the body temperature. Making sure that if you are having trouble sleeping, that you do have a little something in your stomach to stop your blood sugar crashing during your sleep. If you want to track that, you can use a continuous blood glucose monitor. The most affordable one that I found is the Stelo, Stelo. I think you can try them for a month, like $100, which is, I still think that's too expensive, but it's the cheapest one out there. But that's what's going on. Ladies, your thermostat is just super, super sensitive. The second your body temperature changes in either direction, it overreacts. Estrogen is also dropping and it naturally drops in the evening, which makes the situation even worse. But if you have had a cocktail, if you're highly stressed, if your bedroom's too warm, you've got warm sheets, you're 2 chihuahuas on you, just saying, that can make the situation a lot worse. Cooling sheets with warm socks sounds silly, but the heat will be pulled down to your feet, so that can help with the hot sweats. And guys, it's the same thing. So with you guys, it's really triggering that parasympathetic nervous system. If you're getting that cortisol spike, And during the night, that's what's waking you up. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, very common. So the breath work for you would be excellent. And just to support your testosterone. Now, the one thing about testosterone is you guys have a lot of ways to support it. Resistance training and HIIT training, you can boost your own testosterone. You can't salvage it from aging, but you can protect it. So there's different ways you can actually protect your testosterone. The best one is to not have belly fat, or if you've got it, get rid of belly fat, because I think it was the last podcast episode when I said that belly fat crushes testosterone, crushes it. So get rid of that belly fat. It is the most reactive fat to exercise, to get moving. And my next program that's coming up, it's not coming up for a hot second because I'm going to finish the Tight 28 program I'm doing now. I'm going to England. I thought I was going to visit my dad, and I'm actually going to put my dad to rest. And then when I get back, I'll start promoting the next program, which will be the Mastering Midlife program. So if you like this information, if you like this podcast, definitely watch out. If you would like to be on my mailing list so I can let you know about when I'm doing things, then email me, J-O at theshrinkshop.com, and I'll put you on the email list. Believe me, there's no spam. I don't barely have time to send emails, but I do send them out when I've got a program coming up. So that's it for now. Sleep. The world is such a better place when we get good sleep, and hopefully that helped to explain some of the problems that happen with sleep and a few natural remedies to help you get a good night's sleep. Check the show notes for my sleep formula. I always forget to mention that product. It's phenomenal. So I take it every night. I take it when I travel. The 5-amino 1MQ back in stock. I've had a couple of messages this week. Is it in stock? Yeah, it's in stock. Got it. And watch out for SLU-PP332. If you don't know what that is, go do a quick AI or Google search on that. 5-amino 1MQ, go look at that. And SLU-PP332. I do hope you enjoyed this episode of Midlife Mayhem. Be sure to subscribe and be sure to tell your friends about this wonderful podcast. If you would like more of me, then on social, it's simple, just my name, at Joanne Lee Cornish. Also my website, theshrinkshop.com, where you can see all my coaching programs. There are many ways we can work together. Obviously, I do private one-on-one coaching. All my programs are in a self-study form, and all my programs are run as a live program at least once a year. I try and do twice, but it usually ends up being once. I have mindset program. I have my awesome 5-day peak week shred that people love. I have the signature weight loss program. I have Tight 28, which is advanced weight loss. I have muscle mastery, and I have mastering midlife. So 6 programs that offer a progression to fully understand the body composition through the ages. If you have questions, if you're wondering how I can help you, then simply shoot me an email at J-O at theshrinkshop.com. Tell me what's going on, and I'll get back to you and let you know the way I can help. Okay, that's it for now.